Greetings, Raider Nation. In today's video, we've got a lot of exciting news and some critical questions to dive into. But before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the latest updates regarding your favorite team. We've got a lot of discussion around the draft today. It's that time of the year where fans are buzzing with trade rumors, draft scenarios, and potential free agent signings. We'll go through some intriguing fan suggestions, rumors, and potential strategies for how the Las Vegas Raiders could navigate this year's draft. Let's start with one fan's suggestion about making a trade during the draft. The idea is to move up a few spots to grab a quarterback in the 4th or 5th rounds with the possibility of signing a quarterback after the draft. The theory is that a rookie quarterback could learn from the veteran starter and backup, easing into the role over time. Now, I have to admit, I'm not opposed to making a trade, but I prefer moving up somewhere between the 10th and 12th overall pick. What I'm really after is securing a 2nd and 3rd round pick. If we can only get one of those picks, then we've got a real problem on our hands. If the strategy is to bring in a quarterback who's already been in the league for a while, I'd say no thanks. I'd much rather keep the current starter and allow him to compete with the rookie, giving the rookie the chance to develop. If our starting quarterback goes down with an injury, we've still got a solid backup, and the rookie can continue to grow and learn. Now, let's move on to another suggestion from a fan. This one proposes a trade to move up to the 8th position in the draft and still secure a player for a 3rd round pick, plus another player with a 2nd round pick. The thinking here is that we could potentially secure a 3rd player in the 3rd round. Personally, I think moving up to the 8th or 9th pick increases the likelihood of losing out on the player you want. Sure, the Raiders could target a running back, but I know that might surprise some of you. Personally, I'm not interested in selecting a quarterback in the 2nd round, especially considering the team's current needs. If we were to focus on shoring up the offensive line, I believe we could pick a solid offensive lineman within the top 3 picks of the draft. Let's take a look at some potential player selections. We've discussed some of these players during our live chat, and if you missed that, we had a fun live stream last Thursday. If you haven't checked it out, make sure to tune in next time. If you're looking at a player who might be available at pick number 6, there's a good chance you could secure another player at pick 37, which would be a great move. The real question is, if you had to pick between 2 players, who would you go for? Honestly, I'm satisfied with both options. Probably even more than you might think. Both choices could help the team, and I'd be thrilled with either one. Moving on to the next question, if the Raiders land a standout player in the draft, would that impact the team's ability to extend the contract of a key player? Personally, I don't think one thing affects the other. If the Raiders go after that standout player, I think it would be a 1-year contract to evaluate his worth to the team. As for extending the contract of one of our key players, I believe that will happen eventually, whether or not we bring in the new player. The question that remains is whether another team might show interest in trading for this key player, especially considering some of the other top-tier options may no longer be available after the draft. Here's another fan question. Would you trade away a 1st-round pick to acquire a player? The proposal is to trade the 6th pick for the 13th pick and a player. To be honest, I don't think this trade is worth pursuing unless the Raiders can secure more value in return. Sure, I value this player highly, but if the deal doesn't bring additional value, say a 2nd round pick, I'd hesitate to pull the trigger. The question of whether this would benefit the Raiders really depends on what we get in return. I'd argue that this trade could work better if we also secured a 2nd round pick along with the 13th pick and the player. The Raiders would need to seriously consider acquiring a skilled player in this draft. Many people believe that adding him could significantly enhance the team's performance, but any trade needs to offer value in return. A 2nd round pick would likely be a fair starting point for this kind of trade, and there might even be a chance to swap 5th round picks. But when we look at this trade as a theoretical situation, the big question is, who benefits most? If we assume that the Raiders come out on top, that's one thing. If the opposing team gains more, then we have to reconsider the trade. On paper, it seems like the other team might have the upper hand in this deal. So, unless we can get a 2nd round pick in this trade, it's probably not worth pursuing. So, how do we make the most out of this potential deal? It might look something like this. The Raiders receive the 13th pick and the 48th pick, while the other team gets the 6th pick and a 5th rounder. That's a more balanced trade from a value perspective, and it might even be fairer than some of the other options we've seen. In this case, we could grab a talented player with pick 13, and then at pick 48, we could add another quality piece to the roster. However, if the Raiders move back to the 13th pick, the real question will be whether we can still land 2 solid picks, like a 2nd and a 3rd rounder. I'd argue that the player in question might only be worth a 4th round pick, especially considering some of the opinions from scouts and general managers. Now, if the Raiders make this move and the other team acquires the 6th pick, what's the chance that we get a valuable offensive lineman or another crucial piece of the puzzle? This is an interesting question to ask, especially considering how things are playing out. If we do move down and get an additional 2nd round pick, that could help fill in the gaps on the roster. But again, the real key is what the Raiders do with the picks they have. There's another situation floating around. What if a player misses mandatory camp? Would that trigger an immediate trade? Honestly, I don't think we see a trade right away. The anxiety surrounding a player's absence can be frustrating, but it's essential to remember that these off-season workouts are voluntary. If the player continues to be absent closer to mandatory camp dates, that's when we'll start worrying. But for now, I expect that the contract extension talks will go forward in May, and that's where the team is focusing its attention. While there are still more questions and scenarios to explore, I want to touch on something exciting. When it comes to last-minute tickets, having options is key. You can save a lot on tickets for sports events, concerts, comedy shows, and more by using a trusted platform. It's a great way to get the best prices and secure the best seat views, while simplifying the process of reselling tickets if needed. So, whether you're looking to grab NBA playoff tickets or plan to visit an MLB stadium, check out these ticket options. Looking to grab NBA playoff tickets or plan to visit an MLB stadium, check out these ticket options. That wraps up the first part of today's video. Keep those questions coming and stay tuned for more Raiders draft analysis and insights. And don't forget, subscribe to stay up to date on all things Raiders. We've got some exciting content lined up for you. Now that we've covered some intriguing draft scenarios and trade rumors, let's dive deeper into how the Raiders could approach this offseason. We know that the draft isn't the only tool the team has to improve, and it's critical to take a broad view of the roster, looking at not just the picks, but also free agency and any potential trades that could shift the team's direction. Major talking point lately has been the Raiders quarterback situation. As we all know, the team is coming off a tumultuous year, and there's still a lot of uncertainty surrounding the starting role. Many fans are hoping that the Raiders bring in a new face, someone who could be the future of the franchise. The question is, do they use their high draft picks to secure a quarterback of the future, or do they try to bring in a veteran who can lead the team for a year or two? It's a tough decision to make, but I believe the team needs to prioritize stability, and if they can get a proven quarterback on a short-term deal, that might be the best move for now. That would allow them to focus on other areas of the roster, while also giving the rookie quarterback the time to develop behind a seasoned pro. However, if they go for a rookie quarterback, there's a risk. They could either hit it big and land a future star, or they could set the franchise back by selecting the wrong player. It's a gamble, and we've seen how those gambles have played out for teams in the past. If the Raiders decide to go this route, I would like to see them not only pick a quarterback, but also invest heavily in their offensive line. Giving a rookie quarterback protection is crucial for their success. Without a solid offensive line, no quarterback, rookie, or veteran can thrive. On the flip side, another area where the Raiders could make a huge impact is on defense. While the offense gets a lot of the attention, rightfully so given the quarterback situation, it's clear that the defense needs to be addressed as well. In particular, the Raiders could stand to improve their secondary. As it stands, they've got some solid pieces in place, but they need more playmakers. If they can snag a top-tier cornerback or safety in the draft or free agency, it could elevate the entire defensive unit. The defense has been inconsistent in recent years, and adding a ball hawk to the mix would help in a big way. There's also room to improve at linebacker, where they could use more speed and versatility to cover opposing offenses. The defensive line has been another area of concern, and while they've got some strong players, they could always use depth. A player who can disrupt the pocket and create pressure on the quarterback is always valuable. Whether the Raiders go after a free agent or look to the draft, adding a pass rusher who can consistently generate pressure will make life easier for their secondary and linebackers. And let's talk about another crucial aspect, the running game. Josh Jacobs has proven to be a workhorse for the Raiders, but he's going into a contract year, and his future with the team is uncertain. There's a lot of speculation about whether the Raiders will extend him or let him hit free agency. If they can't lock him down with a new contract, it's crucial for the team to find a solid backup option or even a future starter in the draft. A solid running back is key to taking the pressure off the quarterback, and if Jacobs isn't in, the Raiders' long-term plans, they need to have someone in the pipeline. Whether they take a running back in the later rounds of the draft or look to free agency, this is an area that requires attention. Speaking of free agency, the Raiders have some tough decisions to make with their own players as well. The team has a number of players who are on expiring contracts, and managing these extensions is going to be crucial for their success. Some players are in line for significant raises, and balancing those demands with the team's overall salary cap situation will be key. The Raiders have to figure out which players they want to retain and which ones might be expendable. I expect the team to prioritize re-signing key contributors, but that could come at the cost of letting some familiar faces go. Now, let's get back to the draft. One thing that's become clear over the past few weeks is that the Raiders will have plenty of options at their disposal. They've got the 6th pick overall, which puts them in a great position to take a top-tier player. Whether it's a quarterback, offensive lineman, defensive back, or pass rusher, the team has a chance to grab someone who can make an immediate impact. But beyond the first round, the Raiders also have a solid group of picks in the 2nd and 3rd rounds, and those are often where the most value is found. In many drafts, it's the players taken after the 1st round who end up having the longest careers and the biggest impacts. So while it's exciting to focus on the 1st round pick, it's equally important to keep an eye on those mid-round selections. As we approach the draft, the buzz surrounding specific players has been growing louder. There's been talk about some of the top quarterbacks, but there are other positions worth considering as well. For example, there's been speculation that the Raiders could target a wide receiver to add depth to their offensive weaponry. While Davante Adams is still one of the top wideouts in the league, the Raiders could use another threat on the outside. That would open up the offense, making it more difficult for opposing defenses to focus solely on Adams. Adding a dynamic wide receiver could complement the running game and help take the pressure off the quarterback. But the reality is that the Raiders are in a transitional phase, and the moves they make this year could define the future of the franchise. The success of this draft and the moves they make in free agency will shape the team's trajectory for the next several years. This is a pivotal moment for the Raiders, and there's a lot of pressure on the front office to make the right decisions. In the end, it's about balance. The Raiders need to ensure they're improving every facet of their team, from the quarterback position to the offensive and defensive lines. They can't afford to neglect one area at the expense of another. With the draft just around the corner, we'll soon find out how they plan to approach these challenges. The stakes are high, and Raider Nation is watching closely. So, what do you think? Should the Raiders go for a quarterback in the 1st round, or should they focus on another position? Will they make a big splash in free agency, or rely on the draft to fill key needs? As always, I want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below, and let's keep the discussion going. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more Raiders analysis. I'll see you in the next one. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a surprising twist that has caught the attention of the NFL world, star wide receiver Davante Adams has publicly admitted he regrets leaving the Las Vegas Raiders. Known for his exceptional route running and elite hands, Adams has long been considered one of the league's top receivers. His recent comments, however, have opened a new chapter in his storied career, shedding light on the emotional toll of a move that now feels like a misstep. Adams, who joined the Raiders in 2022 after a high-profile trade from the Green Bay Packers, initially saw the move as a homecoming. Born in California and a college teammate of Derek Carr at Fresno State, Adams believed he was aligning both his personal and professional aspirations. The promise of reuniting with Carr and playing closer to family seemed like a perfect match. But the reality in Las Vegas turned out to be far different from the dream he envisioned. Since arriving in Las Vegas, Adams has faced a turbulent period, marked by coaching changes, quarterback instability, and a lack of playoff contention. Despite putting up solid individual numbers, the team's inability to compete at the highest level has weighed heavily on him. In a recent interview, Adams did not hold back, stating that he now questions whether leaving the Packers, a perennial playoff team with one of the NFL's top quarterbacks in Aaron Rodgers, was the right decision. His candid reflection comes at a time when the Raiders are in the midst of a rebuild, and questions about his long-term future with the franchise are once again surfacing. While Adams remains under contract, his openness about regret could potentially spark renewed trade rumors, especially among contenders looking for a proven offensive weapon. As the league reacts to his revelation, one thing is clear: even the biggest stars wrestle with their choices, especially when legacy and loyalty collide with ambition and circumstance. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.